this is Tanya from Berry Fun Yarns coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota, where my family and I own Firefly Berries, a fruit farm, and where I dye naturally dyed yarn with the plants that we grow on our farm. So hello, good morning, wherever you are today. I hope you're having a great day. Unfortunately, for many of you who are watching this video, you're not in Rochester right now because of COVID-19. The Zombie Knitpocolypse retreat was canceled. However, lucky for us, Megan and Amy are on the ball and put together a wonderful virtual ZK2020 at home. So I'm coming here to you to show you some of the things that I would have had in person at the ZK Marketplace, but instead will be available online at my shop through our Firefly Berries website. I have lots of fun things to show you. Hopefully I won't talk too long. If you see anything that I show you that you have questions about, or I need suggestions for other colors to go with it, please feel free to message me. I am Berry Fun Mom on Ravelry, or you can message me via email at berryfunyarns@gmail.com. And I'll put that below in the description box so that you don't have to remember that. So let me show you a few fun things that I created for ZK 2020 at home, and for anybody else who's out there that's not attending but is still hoping to shop. So let me show you what I have. Yarn. For those of you who are sock knitters out there, I created 2 different colorways using a different dyeing technique that creates a really fun, sort of like a micro striping, kind of repeatable striping sequence in a sock. The theme this year was sort of a magical theme for ZK, and so I went with that idea when I named them. So the first one is called Unicorn Tails, and this is what it looks like in the skein. And I'm going to show you what it looks like knit up here. Here's it in the ball, or the cake, I suppose. And it's the purple is the primary color that shows through. And then we have, let's see if I can get the right angle with my lighting here. There we go. The blue, there's a little bit of a blue striping and then a pink kind of color that pops in. So that's kind of fun. That one's called Unicorn Tails, and it has this beautiful kind of repeating colorway. Those will be available on my Berry Tough sock base, which is an 80% merino, 20% nylon, as well as the Berry Tough Sparkle, which is 75% merino superwash, 20% nylon, and 5% silver stellina. So that is Unicorn Tails. And then I had one that I created with the Team Dragon in mind, and that one I called Dragon's Breath. And this one looks a little different. This is a darker version of it. It is blue and kind of a yellowy orange with a green kind of dominant color. That one knits up really fun too. It has a very dominant green color when it knits up, so you can see here. So when I dyed these, if you don't know much about natural dyeing, if you've not heard much about it before or experienced it, it's a little different than the acid-based dyeing because I have to pre-mordant my skeins to make sure that the natural dyes will adhere, sort of like acid dyers use like a vinegar or citric acid. So I do that beforehand, and then when I dyed these, I dyed them in a different way, where I took my big long hank and I dipped it in one color 2/3 of the way up on the hank, then I let it dry, and then I turned it the other way and I dipped it in another color. So when you open up your hank, you can see 3 distinct colors, but then when you knit it, it knits in this really fun kind of repeating pattern. So that one's called Dragon's Breath, and Dragon's Breath will be available on the Berry Tough Sock 80/20, the Berry Tough Sparkle, and also I have a few on my Sport base. Now, those two colorways are repeatable. A lot of times when I dye the yarn, they're not very repeatable because it's so dependent on the dye stuff. Because I pick live plant materials, the colors will change based on how much rain we have, that sort of thing, the weather conditions of the year. But these two in particular, I can repeat with pretty consecutive or consistent accuracy. So if I do sell out of those two colors in my shop and you're really interested in one of them, please message me and I'll be happy to put in a pre-order for you. And as soon as we're done with strawberry season, which will be probably next week, since we're a berry farm, we're in the middle of strawberry season, I'd be happy to dye those up for you on any of those three bases, the 80-20, the sparkle base, or the sport base. So just let me know if you'd like that. So some other fun things that I have gotten together specifically for ZK that I thought would be a fun addition. We have, I know a lot of knitters, pardon the crinkling, a lot of knitters or crocheters even make a granny stripe blanket or a memory blanket or a scrap blanket of some sort. You can see my blanket back here. That's a corner to corner crochet blanket that I made a while ago. And so it's fun to have smaller amounts in lots of colors. So I put together what I'm calling grab bags with micro skeins. So these are 10-gram minis. So 10 different minis in 10 different colors, and they're random. There's all different colors, and I've hand wound them so they're all ready for you to knit or crochet, and there's a whole bunch of those that will be live in the shop. But those are kind of a fun way to get kind of a sampling of my yarn without having to buy just one skein. So you get lots of fun colors to try out. So those are the micro grab bags. Those will be under the mini skein sets or the mini skein section in my online shop. The other very unique thing that I have to Berry Fun Yarns is something called eco-printed sock blanks. So most of the time people use these to create socks. Obviously that's why they're called sock blanks. But you can also, I've had some people who simply finish the edging on the blank and they block it out, or maybe they add like a picot edging on each side with a contrast, and they use it as a scarf too. Because what it is I take my dye stuff, so I dye primarily with flowers, a few onion skins, some logwood is what I was thinking of, but some bark. So what I do is I take the dye stuff and I put it directly on my wet blank that's already been mordanted. So you can see here these bright yellow spots are like marigold leaves. This here is an actual flower. So I press the flowers directly onto this and then I steam set it in a steamer. I kind of roll it up like a big sausage. It goes in with all the plant material in it, and then when I'm done I take it out, I unroll it, I take all the plant material off, and the color has gone onto the blank permanently, and then I just wash the blank and I've packaged it up and it's ready to go. So these are really fun and they're very unique. Here's one that has some other colors, and you can see this big blotch here is the sunflower, and there's the blue I get from hollyhocks, black hollyhocks. There's some coreopsis in here, these really tiny kind of orangish looking ones. So there's all kinds of fun different colors of eco-printed sock blanks that are available, and they are one strand. So if you're a 2 at a time sock knitter, they are not a double-stranded, they're a single-stranded sock blank. So those are in their own category in the shop. The other very fun thing that I created for ZK was a mini skein set. And I have a limited quantity of these because sometimes they sell really fast and sometimes they don't. So I wasn't quite sure how many to make. So they are limited and they are one of a kind. I won't be making this exact set again, but I'm calling them the Grandma's Garden mini set, and it is 8 different colors. We have Leave Me Alone, Daffodil, If Rain Fell in Color, this one's Creamsicle, Tanya Lynn, Where Are You, Fairy Garden, Blackberry, and Yogurt Parfait. And the reason I call them Grandma's Flower Garden mini set is because my grandma Betty is who I spent a lot of time with her in nature when I was very young, and we would pick wild blackberries and go camping together. So they reminded me of her and our time that we spent together. Hence the Tanya Lynn, Where Are You one is named after her and how we would go picking blackberries in the forest, and she often couldn't find me, and so my mom would put on these brightly colored hats, and that's how she'd locate me. So that one has kind of pops of orange and red in amidst the berry colors, because that's how my grandma would find me. Some of the colors that I think would look really nice with this mini skein set. So this set is very, you can see it's sort of very subtle, flowery spring colors. So I think to go with that, it would be really nice to have a darker color. So this is Minnesota Northwoods, which is a darker green. This one is called Milk Chocolate. It's like a rich brown that I dyed with walnuts. And then this one is called Grape Juice. So any of those would look, I think, really great with the mini skein set. If you have in your stash, if you have like a darker gray or even black would probably look okay. It kind of just depends on what the look is that you're going for with your shawl. The next section that I'd like to highlight is Mohair, held double for projects. So I know that's become fairly popular or trendy, where you hold something double, hold mohair or Surrey alpaca double with a fingering weight to get a kind of a halo. So you can see this actually that I'm wearing today. If I can stand up. This is the Lounging Tee by Joji Locatelli, and it's a super fun, quick knit. I actually chose to put mohair in it, even though it is a summer tank, and I feel very comfortable in it. Rochester isn't super hot like, say, Tennessee or Georgia or something like that, but when you're in the air conditioning, it's a nice warm layer. I feel very warm here, but yet I still have the sleeves off so that I can have a nice, breeze going on so I don't get too hot. So for this one, I used the base yarn. The fingering yarn isn't mine. It's a Madeline Tosh that I had in my stash. However, I used Grungeberry mohair with it held double, and so it gave it a very nice halo. I have some pairings I want to show you. This color here is Hyacinth, and it's a very kind of pale purple, but with dark pops of darker purple. And that would pair nicely, I think, with the Blackberry. Blackberry would bring out the other darker pops that are in that skein, so that would be a really fun option. I also have a couple colors that are, let me just show you. There we go. Let me do one at a time. These are really hard to show because they're very beautiful, but they blow out really fast with the color. So it is kind of a key lime color with pops of yellow in. That's a little bit better. This one is actually called key lime, but I also have other ones. There's another colorway that's very similar. So I do have key lime on Sparkle, I believe. I'm not sure if I have it on the regular fingering bases, but there's another colorway that's very, very similar, and it is called Honeydew You Love Me, like honeydew melon. And this one has a little bit more variegation in it with a little bit, it's still that key lime color. Here's another skein. This one turned out a little more green. So it still has the key lime green in it, but it has a little bit more pops of yellow in it. And I'll show you, this is a sweater that I knit. I'll put it on. This is the Like a Cloud sweater by Joji Locatelli. I am a Joji Locatelli fan. You can kind of see it. It's showing a little more gray than it really is. So this pattern calls for a lace weight held double with the mohair. so it would be 2 lace weights. I am a loose knitter, so I used a fingering weight held with the mohair, and I got the same gauge. So, but this is a beautiful pattern. 2 other colors that would look great together with mohair would be, this one is called The Earth is But One Country. It reminded me of sort of the ocean. There's kind of blues and greens in the ocean. That one is really fun. That one I think I have on Sparkle. And this one is very similar to that. This one's called Under the Sea, except you can see it has pops of purpley pink mixed in with it. So this one is more of a greeny blue, and this one has a little bit of pops of pink. They pair nicely with the overalls. It's hard to see. All right, and one last mohair combination that I think would be fun. If you just want a smaller project like a hat, this would be a really fun combination. This is Colorado Peaches, and I would pair that with the pumpkin mohair. Okay, so there are lots of 2 or 3 skein projects out there, different colors, often shawls, that maybe you're wondering what colors would go nice together. So I've kind of pulled a couple to show you, give you some ideas. There we go. Summer Lovin' has the blue with the pops of purpley pink, and then the purple of the spring lilacs would go really nice together. This is a lighter version of Summer Lovin' that I have in stock as well. It might give you a little bit different color contrast. Those would be great together. If you're a fan of pink or pink and brown, these would be really fun together. This is a chocolate raspberry milkshake on the bottom with mum's flowers on the top. So those would be a really fun 2-color shawl. And if you're looking for a great pattern for a 2-color shawl, one of my favorites is Vera Valamaki's, I believe it's called The First Light. And this is a sample that I made out of my yarn. So this is 2 highly variegated colors. And so this yellow area here is Lemony Snicket. And then the top up here is Double Berry Milkshake. I guess right here is where it's just by itself. So in this one, it's sort of a, let me hold it, it's very long. You do short rows in it. So it's really fun. They kind of start up here and you do short rows, and then you add in the second color and you do every other row, and then you have a lace section, and then you have more garter at the end. I chose to do the lace section, I believe in the pattern, is done in garter, but I chose to do it in stockinette so you could see the patterning a little bit better. Anyway, that would be a great, and I think I used almost both skeins, which is great because I don't like to have a lot of leftover yarn, and it wears very nicely around your neck. It's a nice size. It drapes nice, and it kind of has these nice little curls on the bottom. So that's called The First Light by Vera Valimaki, and it takes 2 skeins that are contrasting. Or you could have them, these are pretty similar, so it has sort of a marled look and variegated versus the contrasty look if you picked 2 tonals. So it kind of depends what you're going for. If you're looking to make a 3-color DK shawl, this one is an oldie but a goodie. I've had around for a while. This is the Jody shawl by Jody Brown from the Grocery Girls, and this is 3 DK skeins in my All-Star DK. The top color is Peachy Keen, the middle is Colorado Peaches, and the bottom is Blackberry. And there are lots of color options in the shop that would work for that. I just pulled out 3 that I thought would be fun. The top one is called Grassy Knoll, the middle is Under the Sea, and the bottom is Steamed Asparagus. The last section that I'd like to share with you or highlight from my shop is the DK Tweed and the Berry Tough Confetti base that I have. So those two bases are both a tweed base, meaning that they have little neps wound into the yarn or spun into the yarn. The DK Tweed base, which is what my sweater is that I'm wearing now, that I switched into, has the tweed is like the traditional tweed, the blacks and browns kind of colors. But then the Berry Tough Confetti base has these colored neps in that are pink and yellow, green, and blue. In most cases, the color of the neps stay. However, when I dye very deep colors, when I use indigo, like this one, this is Minnesota Northwoods, even the neps will change. So like this one used to be a pink nep, and it turned purple in the indigo. So I love these tweed colors, and actually all of my yarn it lends itself very well to color work because the tones of the natural dyes, they're all very similar, and so the colors most of them go quite well together. So it's hard to create something that doesn't look like it goes together. It's just how it is. So this is the Soldotna crop. I'm sure many of you have already seen this. It's an older pattern, but I just made mine. So I made mine longer, so it kind of just touches my waist. And then I did the regular, followed the pattern up on top. So the colors I used in this, if you wanted to replicate this exactly, this dark green is Minnesota Northwoods. The orange is called Pumpkin. The purple is Spring Lilacs. And then the lighter green color on the bottom is Fairy Garden. So that's exactly how I used it for this one. But I do have lots of other colors in the shop that may interest you for a color work of similar. So here's my colors. The top, let's do them one at a time. This one is the Spring Lilacs that was in my sweater here. This one is Creamsicle, so it's sort of an orangish color. It's dyed with Madder Root. This one is called Dusty Rose, and it is with Logwood and Cochineal. This one is a brighter yellow color. It is Mustard with Yellow Onion Skins. Here's that dark Minnesota Northwoods. I love this one. This is one of my favorites. And then this last one is, this is Seafoam. It's showing up a little bit lighter than it really is. It's a little bit deeper blue color. So those are all fabulous, and it's very squishy. It is 100% superwash merino, so it does stretch after you knit a project, so you have to keep that in mind when you're doing your gauge. After you wash it, it will grow, but it's so soft and squishy, and it's a joy to wear. I wrote down a few other ideas for patterns with color work for DK weight. So if you wanted to do something smaller, you could go with the Merit mittens. You could do some mittens or a hat, but Merit by Skein Deer Knits looks like a really fun pattern that's on my list to knit. The Relentless shawl by Tammy Gore, if you wanted to go with something a little bit bigger, that's a really fun one. I'm going to try to put pictures in the corner here so that you can see what they look like. Desert Diamonds Cowl, so it's a 2-color cowl by the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. That looks like a fun project. And then this one has been on my queue for a while, the Patiki Tiki Hat and Cowl by Francois Danoy. I think that one would be super fun in any of the colors that I've dyed. They would look really great together. So that's a couple ideas for the DK weight. Then on the fingering base of the confetti, also a super fun yarn to knit and to dye. That one is 85% merino, 15% Donegal neps, which come from nylon, and it's 438 yards, 100 grams. So here's a couple of the colors for you to see. This is Seafoam, Creamsicle, this one I love, Rainforest, Minnesota Northwoods. This one is similar to Seafoam but lighter. It's called Misty Morning. It was dyed with lilacs. So you can see they're very similar, but one's just a tad darker. So they'd be great together in a project. And the last one is Blackberry, which is a very pale purple gray. A couple pattern ideas for the fingering would be Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. That's a really fun longer sleeve sweater, and it has a little bit of color work right around the yoke. And Jennifer Steingass is always great for sweaters if you're looking to do a colorwork sweater with the yoke. Her Silver Forest and her Engi, I think it is, E-N-G-I, look really beautiful. I would love to have either of those. And then Winterfell by Skein Knits is also a really pretty sweater that I would love to knit out of some of the fingering weight Very Tough Confetti. And then as far as a smaller project, if you're looking for a hat, Oska, O-S-K-A, by Orlane Suche. Not sure if I'm spelling that right or saying it right, I mean. But that one looks like it would be really fun knit as well. So I think that's it. There's lots more yarn in the shop, a lot of other bases that I didn't even highlight very much, but this video would be super duper long if I took the time to highlight them all. So I'll put links down below for all the patterns I mentioned, a link for my shop. If you need to reach out, if you have any questions, you can reach me on Instagram or on Ravelry. I am Berry Fun Mom. You can reach me by email, which is berryfunyarns@gmail.com. And I will do my best to help you with color matching or questions of any sort. If you're also interested in a colorway that seems to go out of stock and you're wondering if I can repeat it, there are some that I can consistently repeat, so feel free to reach out. But a lot of them are available as is because they don't always come out exactly the same. So thank you so much for checking out my yarns and this little video, and I hope you have a great time at ZK2020 at home. And if you're not there, I hope you have fun knitting wherever you are. Have a great day. Bye-bye.